Hi, BBs. Good morning.
Here's a fun technical thing for you. You can't hear us while the intro's running. We're here. We're in the office. We're doing the thing. I'm so used to working in a studio environment that I had something to tell Saige before the show went live, and so I whispered it to her so no one in the audience would hear.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning, BBs. It's too early.
Good morning. It is too early.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
And I did the thing.
Anthony, you'd been debating for a while, and I believe last time we talked about it on the show, you were like, it's just a little too expensive.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it, except I did it.
Okay, so let's talk about it. This is for bathtub gaming.
This is for bathtub gaming. I got the backbone controller. Feel this thing.
No, this is...
Don't pour water on it. I don't want to test that functionality of it, but if you wanted to, like, hold it, you could. Like...
So this is for the iPhone. Interesting.
Feel those buttons.
Those are good feeling buttons.
Right? Click those sticks.
Real clicky. Real clicky.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
You're gonna put it in the bathtub. I needed to know. That's
true. It was a good bathtub test. And I'll tell you what, it's real good. And I found between the backbone controller and some settings I found that you can set for Safari on mobile, xCloud is running insanely well.
Wow.
I've got my xCloud on this. I've got RetroArch on this. I'm playing classic games.
Okay.
I'm playing emulators.
Yeah.
I'm playing everything on this. And I gotta tell you, it's pretty good.
Now, you wouldn't be playing the same things that you could play on your Retroid Pocket, right?
Saige Ryan.
Yes, Anthony.
What do we got for news?
Why does the camera make me look so small today?
It's just today.
It's just,
It's literally only today.
I don't know what's happening, but today the camera's making me look very small. Also, before we got started and before we started talking about the backbone controller, we always shout out donations at the end of the show, but Kaylin Rohr, oh my God, thank you for that
Very generous.
incredibly generous donation. Thank you for helping to make it possible for us to continue what we do.
Yeah. And like Saige said, we will be shouting out. We have a big honor roll at the end of the show. So thank you, everyone, for your support, for your subs, for all that stuff. Because I just bought a $100 phone controller that I can't afford. Why did I do that? For bathtub gaming.
It's because you're leading, obviously, the research into bathtub gaming. Who else is doing it?
Nobody.
Name one publication that's covering bathtub gaming.
Every time I bring up bathtub gaming to people in the real world, they are blown away. People have never thought about bringing electronic devices into the bathtub.
I mean, I think about it all the time. That is simply not the context.
Yeah, it's kind of like I've thought about toasters. I've thought about
hair dryers.
Hair dryers. But where are you gonna bring mobile controllers? And I bought a G Blaster. I play my Switch Lite in the tub all the time. Bathtub gaming. That's what it's about. And also, to honestly answer your question from before, this actually can play a lot more things that the Retroid can't play.
Yes.
Because it's a very fancy phone.
Very fancy.
It's very fancy. I played some GameCube on it. And I play some DS stuff on it that's real good. And both screens pop up side by side because the iPhone's got the widescreen. It's pretty nice.
I don't take baths. I don't.
Oh,
need it.
you should. You should. You are a prime candidate for baths. You need 20 minutes of silence and warm water. More than maybe anybody I know.
What? Because I'm anxious and stressed with back problems?
Yes.
An anxious, stressed workaholic with back problems? That's exactly why I don't have time for a bath.
She last year, as a gift, bought me a suction cup back cushion for the bath.
I did.
It looks like a dad's recliner, but you stick it to the back of your bathtub and you just sit in your bathtub, and it was amazing. I get out my bathtub desk. I don't have a bathtub adding machine yet, but I'm thinking about getting one for business.
It's pretty good.
It's really nice. Everybody take a bath once a week. Take a bath, and if you have a thing about baths, like I have, I actually have a thing about baths. I feel like, why would you float in dirty water human soup? You take a shower first.
Okay.
You're clean. You fill the bathtub. You sit down. You get out your bathtub desk. You play some video games. It's gonna change your life. It's gonna change your life.
All right.
That's all.
Maybe one of these days. But hey, bathtubs are great. Let's talk about the news, though.
Okay.
Let's start with games.
What do they got? Games?
Yeah, I would say out there, there's some games.
What do they got? Games?
I would say there's games out there.
They made shit since the GameCube?
I would go as far as to say the games are all around us. Back 4 Blood's beta we talked about last week a good bit. And
Back 4 Blood's beta.
Back 4 Blood
Back
beta.
4 Blood's beta. Back 4 Blood's beta. One sock cutter, he cuts socks. 2 sock cutters, they cut socks. 3 sock cutters, they cut socks. 4 sock cutters, they cut socks. 5 sock cutters, ooh.
Yep. We always get to about there.
There's games.
Anyways, Back 4 Blood had a beta over the weekend that hit nearly 100,000 active players on a fucking beta.
This was the closed beta, too. This wasn't the open one. Open
sure
one's
wasn't.
next weekend.
It made it one of the most played games on Steam over the weekend.
Wow.
That's a big release for Back 4 Blood.
100,000 concurrent puts it up among some of the top games in Steam. You know, we were talking about how the New World beta was considered huge because it had something like 50K concurrent its first week. This is nothing to sneeze at. People have been waiting for that good Left 4 Dead style gameplay for a long time.
Yeah.
I had some friends that were playing it this weekend. I did not get a chance to jump on it. I'm planning on jumping on for the open beta. But this is very exciting. And overall, positive reactions from everybody I know that's been playing it.
You know, I haven't really spoken to anybody IRL that's been playing it yet. There we go. I can see again. Very interesting. There was one thing. There was a concern that some of the zombies are saying something offensive. It is not correct, but just as a heads up, there was concern that the zombies said a racial slur. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a real thing that we just had to say.
Turns out it just sounds like the zombies. You know, it's like the So Long King Bowser. You know what I mean? That's what was going on.
It's like So Long King Bowser. That's it. Yeah, they thought that the zombies were saying a racial slur. There was a video that went viral on Twitter specifically of somebody encountering it, to which they responded, "What did you just call me?" Hey, everybody, we want you to know, zombies aren't going to say a racial slur. The zombies in Back 4 Blood, no racial slurs.
No racial slurs.
Just for you.
Hey, they promise that this game has the least racist zombies of any zombie game ever. What game do you think has the most racist zombies?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, exactly.
Unquestionably. Unquestionably.
Speaking of
Maybe
questionable,
like Modern Warfare 2.
yeah. I saw the zombie Ronald Reagan said something to my grandfather that was so rude. No. Speaking of slightly rude things in games, Duke Nukem.
Duke Nukem. Y'all remember Duke Nukem, right?
Duke Nukem, of course. Duke Nukem Forever was the last Duke Nukem game we saw. It was a big deal. Gearbox took it over after literally a decade of troubled development. And Gearbox had plans for Duke Nukem. You know, I remember the PR around Duke Nukem Forever being like, hey, we're Gearbox. We saved this thing that you wanted to be saved. We didn't really make it. It wasn't our thing, but we're gonna finish it up and put it out. And they were definitely testing the waters. They were
what the audience was like, what it was like in this climate to receive a Duke Nukem game.
Yeah, and they had, like, at one point, a TV show was planned, a movie was planned, like, a lot of this stuff was happening. And honestly, Duke Nukem Forever came out, and it was kind of meh, and Duke Nukem, even what they did with Duke Nukem Forever, where they took Duke and they kind of made him the butt of a lot of the jokes in, like, an outmoded 90s action character way, still it wasn't enough for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But Gearbox did have other plans for Duke Nukem, and just this morning, a trailer for a canceled game called Duke Nukem Begins was released. This is my first time watching this.
Let's turn it down a little bit, because we can't probably listen to that audio. And they're not hearing it.
I think this is just placeholder audio. It sounds like just a generic.
Probably.
You're not missing anything. It's just a generic guitar loop.
It really is just a generic guitar loop.
Oh, no.
That looks.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's a bad-looking game.
Ooh. Even for 10 years ago, that's a bad-looking game.
Is that Duke?
Yeah, that's Duke. Although it looks like the dude at your rock climbing gym that just wants to talk to you about cryptocurrency.
See, and I'm getting the vibe when he turned around of like a really hot silver fox lesbian in a bar. Like,
yes.
And I would let her buy me a drink. Don't get me wrong.
Oh no. Well, I could see why this maybe didn't happen. I could see why this maybe didn't happen.
I can see why maybe this actually wasn't.
Hey, put some more bloom lighting on that 4-polygon stripper calf, will ya? It's 2011, for Christ's sake.
It does look like a parody game in a movie that a child character would be playing. Exactly.
Yeah, this is the detectives in Law and Order come to a kid's house to see if he did the murder, and he's playing this game.
And they're like, see? Of course he did the murder. Look at the kind of games he's playing.
Okay. Hey, you know, there's a reason why some of these things never make it to market.
Kaylin Rohr in the live studio audience said, I could see, like, Charlize Theron playing them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Maybe just like a shorter version of the bowl cut from Fast 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That's not a good-looking game. I'm glad we got to live react. I'm glad we didn't watch that in advance. I'm glad that we got to live react to that with you this morning.
Yeah.
Whoo! What a game. I remember as a kid, my brother really liking the Duke Nukem games, and I played some of them along with him, but...
You know...
I can't imagine in today's climate it being something that I'm like, oh, man.
In today's economy? No.
In this economy? Duke Nukem? I can't imagine anything coming out from Duke Nukem and me being like, fuck yeah, this is the game.
Yeah, so this was apparently being developed in parallel with Duke Nukem Forever. Began around 2007. Development halted in 2010. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a 10-year-old game. Basically, Gearbox bought the rights to both, decided to only release Forever.
Yeah.
And based on what we just saw, they made the right choice. Duke Nukem is just one of those things. It's like, it has to exist in the 90s.
Yeah.
There's no way for it to exist anywhere else.
Right.
It's just based on a certain kind of 90s shock factor. It's based on you walk into somebody's apartment and they have a Maxim magazine on the coffee table. Uh-huh. And they're playing Duke Nukem. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's there.
Absolutely. Like, there has to be, like, old, like, hot girl or, like, Playboy calendars on the wall.
Mm-hmm. But classy. You know? Like the classy ones. That's why you put the Maxim out.
From, like, 87.
Yeah, that's why you put the Maxim out, not, like, the stuff. or the FHM.
I don't even know what those are.
You know, you put out the classy one, and you ask about the articles in Maxim.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. All right, well.
Well, hey, speaking of Take-Two and Gearbox, here are some games that Take-Two are working on and are probably actually coming.
They're probably actually making these, we would think. Obviously, Take-Two is working on re-releasing Grand Theft Auto right now because, you know, there's not enough Grand Theft Auto. They're taking on a remake of Grand Theft Auto 3 as well as spin-offs Vice City and San Andreas.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, look, I got a lot of love for San Andreas.
And I played a ton of Vice City.
Yeah, so, I mean, San Andreas is still one of the top-selling mobile games right now. People really love San Andreas.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't even know it was on mobile.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You can get San Andreas. I think you can get Chinatown Wars. I think you might be able to get Vice City as well.
Interesting.
But so, Take-Two Interactive is apparently working on three whole remasters. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why would they be like? That's. Do we want that badly?
No. Now, so there are those Grand Theft Auto remakes, but then they're additionally right now, they're working on 3 unannounced iterations of previously released titles. We're not sure if those are partially Grand Theft Auto. It seems like these are other projects.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anything from the Rockstar library, 2K, and Private Division.
Now, the article here in PC Gamer is speculating that perhaps one or all of these games will get the Mafia Definitive Edition treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So less of just an upscale remaster and closer to a remake, an actual remake, which could be interesting. I think it's a great stopgap for them. You know, obviously GTA 5 is printing money. The GTA 5 next gen editions for current consoles, that update is coming out on what is it? It's coming out in November, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great stopgap to be like, hey, there's no GTA 6 right now, but we have done a high fidelity remake of Vice City, or we've done a high fidelity remake of San Andreas. We fixed up some of the controls. It looks nicer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to play this while you're waiting for GTA 6?
But are we waiting for GTA 6 is the question. Because are you making the game?
I mean,
hey, Rockstar? Because I don't think they're making the game.
I mean, here's the thing. Even if they are, even if GTA 6 is something like 70% done, 80% done,
we're not going to get it for a few years.
They're not going to do... As long as GTA 5 is making the money that it's making...
There's no reason to release a new game.
All you're doing is eating into your own... You're eating into your own profits.
Yep.
Why would you do that? All anybody wants is to play GTA 5 online, which I still haven't done. I've never been interested in GTA.
And that's okay. I've played it. I've played all the way through the campaign. I've played online. It's a fun game. Absolutely.
I've always been fans of them. Yeah, I've always been fans of them mechanically.
Uh-huh.
I've always been fans of them in terms of like how ambitious they are.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, I just don't don't want to run around beating up people in the street.
Yeah,
like that's just not my thing.
There's a lot of hype in chat for potentially Bully.
Oh God. Now Bully I would take 1,000,000. How are we not 18 games into the Bullyverse? Do you know what I mean?
I haven't played it. I haven't played Bully.
It's so good, Saige.
I'm familiar with it. I just haven't actually sat down and played it.
Oh, that's one that you got to go back and play for sure.
Yeah.
I loved Bully so much. Because I mean it's Rockstar, it's GTA, but you're a kid. You're a bully. You're beating up kids in school, and it's like it's fucking wild and hilarious.
Uh-huh.
I love it. I love it. And hey, give me that 4K remaster of Rockstar Table Tennis. The greatest Rockstar game ever made.
Every time.
Listen. It would be so easy. How easy would it be?
Remarkably.
So easy.
Really easy to remaster Table Tennis, guaranteed.
But they won't do it.
They won't. And there's plenty of reasons that they won't, would be my assumption here.
Because they hate fun?
You know, it might be because they hate fun.
That's what I thought.
No, you know what happened because they hate fun?
Hmm.
We didn't get a Power Rangers AAA open world co-op Arkham Rangers style game. What a fucking sentence, right? All of those words are together. Can you believe that? Jason Bischoff, former director of Saban Brands, revealed there was a pitch and some concept art for a Power Rangers game that never was.
You can customize your alpha.
I know. This was called Project Nomad, and it was supposed to be an open world co-op game that was more or less Batman Arkham Rangers style.
Wow.
Look at this. Look at the concept art.
I mean, I'm into it.
Unfortunately, it never got off the ground. They said with so much circulating through the studio at the time, there was no bandwidth or budget to support it. What I did have, however, was invaluable blessing to independently explore, and explore I did. So essentially, there was no actual development of this. There was no approval of the game. It was just a pitch, and they were like, all right, you can have a little bit of money for an artist. You can have a little bit of money for an artist for your idea.
God. The stuff that goes on behind the scenes for giant brands like this all the time is wild. And the fact that we just got some of this art is absolutely wonderful. It was basically Arkham Rangers or Gotham Knights 5 years before Gotham Knights announcement.
Come on.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
It's criminal that we didn't get this game. I would play the hell out of this game.
I'm not even a big bless you. I'm not even a big Power Rangers person. Bless you.
Thank you.
But the idea of that in co-op and just the fun of like a Sentai like a Sentai style show in a co-op. I mean, it's good. It's good. It sounds like the sort of thing that like maybe you'd see a Platinum Games working on. I could see that happening. But like a deeply sort of realistic style one could be interesting, especially like at some point you're gonna build a giant laser or call a dinosaur robot in a gritty and realistic Power Rangers, and I like that.
They didn't necessarily say how gritty it is. I see the art that does kind of imply it, but also it's still pretty colorful in art style.
No, it looks more like the most recent movie. Yeah,
it does. It does look more like the most recent movie, which I heard is good, but I didn't see.
It's a fine film.
I heard it. Yeah, it's exactly what I heard.
It's a fine. It's a CW style Power Rangers. They all got problems. They got so many problems,
We
Saige.
love to co-op.
We love to co-op. We love to summon a giant dinosaur. Those are the two things that we love the most, really.
One of these could be us. Two of these.
Okay, call dibs.
Pink.
I will be red. I would normally be blue.
But you're not.
But I remember all the stuff that went down with that Blue Ranger afterwards.
Yeah, fair.
And that he got kind of icky, so I can't separate the art from the artist on that one. Hey, this would have been neat.
I cannot believe that this is talked about and didn't happen. I'm shocked that there aren't actually more recent Power Rangers games.
I mean, there have been fighting games. There's a very popular fighting game.
Yeah, but how old is that?
It's been out for a few years. They still do content updates for it. I believe the last thing we saw was like that retro style beat 'em up that came out a few years back.
Right.
I think it's ripe for a new game.
Yeah.
I'm down for it.
I'm wondering also like what the purpose of releasing something like this is. Is it to like test the waters and be like, but would people want it if we did it? Not necessarily this game, I'd bet, but a game.
When it comes from somebody who used to be an art director, it usually means that the NDA on the art is up, and he probably posted somewhere like on his CG Peers account or something like that, or on his Twitter, and then somebody from the press picked up on it.
Yeah, he was the former director of Global Consumer Products.
Yeah, so it's probably beyond the NDA now, and so he's like, check it out. Something like this. There was an interesting drop like this on Did You Know Gaming recently about all of the ideas that nearly made it into the Epic Mickey games.
Oh.
Because a lot of that art has been released, and a lot of that's not under NDA anymore. It's wild. The original plans they had for Epic Mickey and the plans that they had for the sequels and the third one. Absolutely bonkers. And I was a big fan of the Epic Mickey games, but it's always fun to see what people are working on with these giant brands and how much they're allowed to do and not do. And it's kind of fun to see, like, a lot of the ideas that you think, why aren't they doing this? Somebody internally in these companies is trying to do it. And it's like you never know why it didn't happen.
Right.
You know?
It's such a big company that it could have been one of 100,000 people. Anthony?
Yes.
There's been a lot of big console news recently. A lot of people are trying to shake up the space.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we just got that PS5 firmware update that lets people put in their own SSDs.
Oh, no, none of that.
Oh. We're talking about the Steamdeck is...
No, not... I mean, well, less important.
Oh, okay.
The Intellivision, of course. The most anticipated console.
The Amico?
2021. The Intellivision Amico.
The
I'm so sorry, everybody. I have bad news.
No.
You have to wait a little bit longer.
No, not the Amico.
I know that you've been waiting for your Intellivision Amico. I know.
Where am I going to find my family-friendly games?
Anthony, I don't know.
How? I can't get wood paneling on an Xbox.
No, you can't. You can't get wood paneling on an Xbox, and you can get it on the Intellivision Amico, and yet it has been delayed for a third time, now pushed to the end of 2021. It was, the first was supposed to be released in October 2020, then April 2021, and then to fall of 2021. But now, we're just saying the end of the year.
Now, you would hope, after all the feedback they got during E3, this delay would be maybe to rethink some things, maybe to update some hardware, maybe to not try to sell us an Ouya in the year 2021. I don't know. But it's not for that. It's supply chain issues. It's COVID issues. It's the typical economic delay issues.
Yep.
They are not changing anything about the Amico.
No, absolutely not. What you see is what you get. And there was somebody in chat who was like, I don't know what this is. Honestly, what even is that? The Intellivision Amico looks like this. It's a family-friendly gaming console intended to be accessible for children, with the intentions of having a family-friendly library of games, with a controller that looks like a Zune, and a base that looks like a foot massager.
But what are some of the cons? Look, it's an interesting idea, but it is an idea that I think is living a little outside of its time. It's living outside. If you're going to find a low-cost game box to play games on your TV with, you know, controllers with screens, inexpensive games, things that are family safe, I mean, it sounds to me like you're getting an Apple TV or an Android TV.
Or even like a Switch Lite.
Or even a Switch Lite. Well, where... And I mean, especially if you already have a foot massager and 2 Zunes...
Then what's the point?
What's the point?
You could just be squirting back and forth on your Zunes.
We got to bring back the word squirt.
Well...
They've come a little bit under fire for misrepresenting the console a tiny bit. They've come under fire a little bit for the delays. Tommy Tallarico has been extremely unkind and doing a little bit of the DMCA dance with people who have been saying bad things about the Amico. He has blown up a couple times on Twitter. I mean, in all honesty, this thing, it's not a scam, but it's not a scam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Essentially, it does a little bit feel like the people who would buy an Intellivision are two groups of people. One, somebody with very niche nostalgia for Intellivision that either wants it for themselves or potentially their children because they had it as a child, but then their kid would just be bummed that it's not a Nintendo. Or two, just uninformed parents who are like, well, this is a little less expensive, and I would like to get my kid a gaming console for the holidays.
It's not less expensive enough.
That feels scammy to me.
It does feel like the sort of thing that, like, back when like Home Shopping Network was a thing, your grandma would be up at 2 a.m. and see like, oh, he wanted a video game.
Right.
and buy that, you know?
Like, we are, and we've talked about this on many occasions, deeply in favor of, you know, independent gaming consoles.
Yeah.
Unquestionably. We think that, like, I wish that more existed. I wish that there was space in it. I wish that it was more accessible for people to create financially. Because right now it is hard to even touch
And I
that
think
market.
when you look at people who are doing something that they kind of understand what it means to be making your own console these days, right? You can't step into the ring against Xbox, against Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. You just can't.
Right.
There are very few there are very few people that could. You know, Amazon and Google are trying, debatably, but even it's going to take them years. It's going to take them billions of dollars. I think people who are doing it right. You look at the way Panic did the Playdate. The Playdate is specifically, like, if you want to appeal to people who love retro stuff, who love product design, who want, like, sillier indie games.
Absolutely.
Who want something kind of unique and a conversation piece. I think
love the Playdate.
We love the Playdate.
But also, again, like, the Retroids.
Yeah.
Same with the Retroids.
And the Retroids is things like the Retroids, things like the RG, the Ambernick series of devices, things like these little portable retro consoles that are coming out. They also understand their place.
Yep.
Their place is, hey, you want to tinker with a device and you want to play your retro games and some mobile games, and you want to do it affordably.
Right.
The Playdate is, you are a design nerd. You probably have a book about Dieter Rams at home, or something. You have that Apple design book, and you remember the Game Boy very fondly, and you like gimmicky, fun little indie games. The Amico is nothing for nobody.
It's
You can't be everything to everyone, but you certainly can't be nothing for no one.
Right. And that's your takeaway from today.
That's what it is.
It is.
Hey.
You want to talk about a console that matters?
Yeah, let's talk about something that's kind of dominating the news right now. Last week, outlets finally got to fly over to the Valve office and sit down for 2 hours with the Steamdeck, and we've gotten a lot of news out of those visits.
A bunch of it. One that I found the most interesting from all of these revelations was Valve saying that they intend to continue making devices in the same handheld category as the Steam Deck. We speculated on this a while back, and you were like, I think they make a thing and they get the hell out. I don't think there's a Steam Deck 2.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's another console, because it was kind of the idea of Steam just pushing others to innovate and create in the space.
I still believe that. Regardless of what... I mean, they're not going to say right now that they're going to abandon this product, because why would you, right before the product comes out? But I don't know. I think, you know, if it's crazy successful for them and we wind up with a Steam Deck 2, I think that's great. But I think their hope is that they won't have to make one.
Okay. Also, that size comparison?
It's a chonkers.
Still hurts.
It's a big boy, that boy.
'Cause that's a regular Switch, not a Switch Lite.
No, it's a thickums.
It's a thickums. They said, we are hopeful that this category becomes an actual category where we are multiple choices within it. We intend to continue making devices on the product line.
Yeah. I think, you know, this is a Trojan horse for them in many ways. This is number one, getting Proton compatibility up, right? They want that Linux compatibility up so they can put SteamOS on more devices. I think they want to put SteamOS on your TV. I think they want to put SteamOS, you know what I mean? They're like everybody else. Yeah. And the only way they can do that is if they can convince developers to make their games compatible with Proton. And the way to do that, bless you, goodness, are you coming down with something?
No, I think there is something in the air.
Is it?
Bought a bit of...
Is it Steam Deck? Is it Steam Deck news in the air?
I wish. I did not get a pre-order. I wish that I had. I regret that I didn't.
I think, you know, they want Proton compatibility up. They want SteamOS on more devices. They want more device makers to put SteamOS on their devices. And so that's, I think, the biggest thing in this for them.
Right. I mean, the reality of it where they have the most to benefit is if they don't have to make a console, but other consoles are playing Steam games.
Yeah.
That's where their money is. They also said, but we also think that it makes sense for other people to fill this space. So if we're right about that, then there will be more choices within this category where other manufacturers are participating, making handheld gaming PC units.
Yeah. You don't see
themselves something else.
You don't see Steam boxes anymore, and everybody likes to laugh about that. But what you do see are small form factor gaming PCs that you can buy everywhere now. Those have become a hugely popular segment of the market, and Valve had quite a lot to do with that. So I think they're doing this same thing. I think the other thing that they're trying to push is they're trying to push, honestly, they're trying to push AMD hardware.
They are.
They're trying to push AMD hardware. Between Apple and Valve trying to push this, I think we're going to see a lot of people taking on, like a lot more developers taking on the Vulkan backend. We're going to see a lot more developers working with FSR, which is, of course, AMD's version of DLSS, which is the upscaling technology. They've picked a team, really.
Yeah. Who wants to deal with NVIDIA right now?
Fuck, man.
Right?
I'll tell you what. Every time I turn on a game, I'm glad I have the big boy card that I have.
Same.
Jesus, who wants to deal with NVIDIA right now?
Who wants to deal with NVIDIA right now? So Valve is working with AMD to ensure that Steamdeck is chill with Windows 11, as PC Gamer put it.
I think this is an interesting segment, a market segment too, the way they're pushing like the inexpensive dock and things like that, and the fact that you can hook any wireless, like you can put like a little wireless dongle in it or hook Bluetooth devices up to it. I think this will become for a certain segment of like teenagers, like I don't want an iPad.
Yeah.
I want a gaming PC.
Yeah.
I can hook it up at home, see mom, I can do my homework.
Right.
I can do everything that I need to do on it. And also, I can do the sick headshots. I can do the no scopes, mom.
Of course, sick 360 no scopes.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of different segments for this that we're not thinking about.
Yeah, I think there are a ton of use cases for this. People are saying I don't see a realistic use case for this. I mean, quite simply, like, when it got announced, I was like, I can't see myself using it.
You want one now, though, don't you?
And now I really want one.
Yeah, you really want one now.
I do. I think that it's a very interesting concept of, like, hey, you know, like, my gaming PC is in a specific room in my home, and I want to sit down and sit at my couch and play a game that I don't have the ability to do so. Fuck, I could just have this.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yep.
Alonzo in the chat, our intrepid moderator, mentioned, hey, if you're a streamer, that could be a second PC. It could be a gaming PC for streamers. If you want to if you have like a mid-tier PC and you want to do a 2-device setup for streaming, you could absolutely do that.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good, cool thing. I wish it were a little smaller, but
I do too. I wish it was a baller.
Yeah.
I wish
it was shot caller, a brawler.
Wish I had a girl who looked good. I would call her.
Yeah. One of the things that they talked about, a lot of people talked about at this event. If you're gonna watch one video of press at this event, watch the Linus Tech Tips video.
Yeah.
He showed up with a fucking thermal camera and an iFixit toolkit, and he was ready to tear the damn thing apart. He was testing so many things about this hardware. And one of the things he said when he started playing it, he was like, oh, he's like, it's this big for thermals. Because he brought one of like the Aya Neos with him.
Wow.
One of the other like high-end PC gaming handhelds. And he was like, oh, he's like, no, actually for ergonomics and for heat, this is great. You actually did the right thing. I don't see how it could have been smaller.
Interesting.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
It is very interesting because we look at it and we're like, this is big for a handheld console. We also have to say it's very small for a gaming PC.
Yeah.
We have to say both.
I mean, that's the thing, and it's got that DLNA 2 in it. The performance that people were getting. I think he was saying he was running Doom Eternal with a locked frame rate. He had it like because Valve initially had like games installed and they had it with like a dynamic resolution and dynamic frame rate, and he was like, absolutely not. And he like went into the config and he put it at native Steam Deck resolution, turned everything to medium, and he was getting like 40 to 60 frames a second in Doom Eternal. So Not bad for a handheld.
Very not bad for a handheld. Something interesting that also I think correlates to the size. Steamdeck can stream games for up to 8 hours. You can't hold that thing for 8 hours. You can't hold that thing for 8 hours.
But it's nice to know that it's got that kind of battery time.
I love that. You can't hold that for 8 hours.
You can't hold that for 8 hours.
You can't. I think, when do your arms get tired on a Steam Deck? Give me an estimate.
I don't know. What's the total weight? They said it's only like, what? It's half a kilogram.
It's a pound more than a Switch, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
1 pound heavier than a Switch.
I've got maybe
an original Switch.
I've got maybe an hour on that thing. Hour and a half.
Yeah, I think I've got like an hour.
But that's a nice leisurely bath. You know?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's a hefty boy. But I also love I love the idea of the dock. Like you play it for an hour, then you dock it, you put it on with a wireless controller. It's cool. It's cool.
It's pretty damn cool. It is. They also said that they teased a little bit of like replacement parts and upgradability, which was interesting.
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth about the SSD being replaceable during pre-orders because there was some conflicting information. So where did they finally come down on replaceable parts?
They said, we're getting questions about upgradability of components, replacement parts, like, can I take it apart? We're going to start answering more of those questions. There's actually a fair, nuanced set of answers all around these things because a bunch of details that have to do with it happens when you take it apart.
Yeah.
But we're about to announce all of those things rather than talk. We're about to announce all of those things rather than just talk about all of those things in a way that hopefully includes nuance so people can fully understand it.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing is
they were like,
people were like, if you email Gabe Newell, he's like Steve Jobs in that if you email him, you'll probably get an answer if you have a quick enough direct question. And somebody on Reddit basically was like, yo, Gabe, can I replace the SSD in this thing? And he was like, yeah, it's an M.2 slot.
Yeah.
But then they had to come out later because he's Gabe Newell, he's doing this. They came out later, they were like, yeah, it is an M.2 slot. You can replace things in the M.2 slot. Here's the thing. It's a pretty tightly engineered device with a lot of custom components and heat shielding and stuff.
So, like, we're going to have to tell you how to do it very correctly if you're going to do it.
We're not saying that everybody should replace the SSD. We're not going to call it user replaceable, end user replaceable, but technician could replace.
They did say that there are 3 particular components that they are going to talk about when it's time to have that nuanced conversation about replacing parts. Things related to thumbsticks, batteries, and SSD storage. Which I think is very interesting because those are your things like, for instance, on your Switch.
That's
like if the Switch had the ability to replace your thumbsticks accessibly, that'd be really nice.
That'd be really nice for that drift.
Obviously, battery is always something that people are going to ask about, and then SSD storage. So essentially, it's like, okay, well, hold on. Let's have a real conversation about it soon. I will tell you that something is coming. These things will have accessibility, but careful.
Yeah. But I think that's interesting. You know I love to take things apart. If you can get in and get it. I absolutely ordered the base model of this thing.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I believe in the fact that I will be able to yank this thing apart and either replace the storage or that SD cards will be fast enough where I won't be too pissed.
Yeah.
So that's where I landed on it. They even talked a little bit about Windows functionality. I have a feeling we're going to see some official drivers released either by AMD or by Steam, but I wouldn't count on them getting the updates or the level of performance that the intended OS is going to have. Because a lot of people are talking about installing Windows because they don't want to go through Proton and games that may not be compatible with Linux.
Right.
But Valve really wants you to keep that Linux on there. You can do what you want.
You can have both, but we'd love it if you had both.
Yeah. So it should be interesting. Of course, nobody's seeing this thing until December, but we can't stop talking about it.
And that's just the first batch.
I want to talk about some good kids.
Okay. let's talk about some good kids.
I want to talk about the good people of Hello Games.
Okay.
I love them. They're sweet people. They care so much. No Man's Sky has turned 5 years old. No Man's Sky's 5th anniversary is this week.
Wow.
Yep. Launched August 7th, 2016, of course, as one of the most maligned games to ever come out. And over the last 5 years, they have released 16 free expansions and updates.
Wow.
To fix and enhance and improve the game.
And they have. I mean, it's become a beautiful game.
It's unbelievable. I absolutely love it. I'll tell you this. I was one of the few people that when it came out, I was fine with it the way it was.
Interesting.
Because I did not take all of my hopes and dreams and whisper them into a bag and throw them down the well of No Man's Sky like a lot of people online did.
Fair.
I saw that game and I was like, oh, I know exactly what this game is.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people that were hoping for a lot more. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that they've been giving more and more and more. The latest update will be called No Man's Sky Frontiers. We're not exactly sure what it will have yet, but we do know that it's coming to PS4, PS5, PSVR, and Steam very soon.
Have you played it in your PSVR?
I have.
I feel like that's something you would enjoy in your PSVR with the environments.
I do enjoy it on the PSVR. I will say that now that I have the Quest 2, it's way better in the Quest 2 just because of the resolution. Okay. There's a little more clarity to the environments.
Okay, so it's available.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, there's a VR. You can turn on a VR mode on the PC version, so you got to hook your Quest up to your PC. Mm-hmm. But it's really lovely in VR. It's just a super chill, walk around, take a look at space animals kind of game.
Yeah.
Sit in a space field.
Which I feel like is always what you're looking for.
Look at space stuff.
Ed in the live studio audience said, imagine if they had updated Spore.
Yeah.
I think about it all the time.
We do think about that quite a lot. Quite a lot.
I would have loved to walk around in VR and look at weird little space creatures in Spore.
Something that Sean Murray talked about that most people forget is they had a team size of 6 developers through a lot of No Man's Sky development. After the PlayStation infusion of cash came in, they wound up with 15 members on the team by launch. That is an incredibly small... Like, before that, all they had made were Joe Danger games. They'd made those little motorcycle 2D Joe Danger games. That's how I knew those guys. So they made it with an incredibly small team, and a lot of people were putting a lot of hopes and dreams into an incredibly small team. And I feel like they've really delivered over time.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Y'all, games are good.
Hey, games are good, you know? You know about games?
Sometimes you just gotta take a handful of M&Ms and think, games are good.
Hey, games are good. You know who's like whatever?
Who?
Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Like, games are good. Matt Damon's like whatever.
Didn't Matt Damon just have that piece about using homophobic slurs?
No. He stopped doing that. He stopped doing that a few months ago. That's what the piece was about. His daughter wrote him a letter that said, hey, could you stop using the F word to describe my LGBT friends? Anyway, that came out. And then last week...
It didn't just come out. He volunteered that information.
He volunteered it. He didn't have to say it.
And no one asked.
Can I tell you the fun thing about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck? They don't have to say any of this stuff. 9 times out of 10, when something comes out about Ben Affleck or Matt Damon, it's because they did it. Mm-hmm. Nobody asked. Mm-mm. Nobody asked Matt Damon if he uses homophobic slurs.
No. And yet, not canceled. Middle-aged white man.
So, last week, he went on, after this happened, they released an episode of Hot Ones with old Matty D. And he did not say the F word, so that's cool, because he doesn't do that anymore.
As of a few months ago.
This episode was obviously shot after his daughter sent him the letter, because I didn't hear a single slur come out of his mouth. So that's great. But something that's relevant to our interests, and I think a very funny story. Here's the thing. I know this is, at this point, this is one of my my old man references, but I can't not think of Team America World Police when I think of Matt Damon.
Fair.
Whenever Matt Damon opens his mouth, the only thing that I think is going to come out of it is Matt Damon. That's literally all I think is going to come out of his mouth.
Episode of Orpheus in the live spew audience, and I'd like to make a statement to say that I have stopped eating mayonnaise straight from the jar.
Yeah. Look.
Again.
I don't throw my banana peels behind the couch thinking that they're going to turn into compost anymore. I got in trouble for that when I was a kid. So, I'd gone to the library and read about compost. And I was like, great, I'll start a compost pile.
Behind the couch?
Yeah. That's right. I thought it just needs to be in like a cool, dark place. Anyway. And when I got caught, my mother was so angry, but it was one of those things where she couldn't be angry because she could tell that I clearly just didn't know I was doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
She was just like, that exasperated, like, oh, you're dumb. You're new to the world and you're dumb.
And it's my fault and my responsibility to make you smarter.
Anyway, Matt Damon goes on Hot Ones and is talking about how he was nearly going to be in that Jason Bourne video game.
Uh-huh.
There was like a Jason Bourne game a million years ago. But they really wanted Matt Damon to be a part of it. They wanted to launch it as like a huge... They wanted it to be like their Splinter Cell or whatever, you know?
Okay.
So he was offered a bunch of money to do it, to do the mocap and the voice acting and everything. And he turned it down. And he said the reason why is because it wasn't enough like Myst.
Sorry. I'm sorry, what? Hey, Matt, what?
He said, I didn't want to do a first-person shooter because I'm not a big fan of first-person shooters. So I was like, if you could make it a little more like if it had a little more thought into it, go into it, like Myst. I love Myst. So I was like, make it more like Myst. And they were like, no. And they just made it without me. Make the Jason Bourne game more like me. Matt Damon. You see where I'm coming from now?
Yeah. No, I saw where you're coming from the whole time.
I fucking love it. He didn't say it as like, I can't believe they did it without me or whatever. He had a very like cheerful tone about it. Uh-huh. It's like there was this story, like Jeff Goldblum was talking about how when they were making Jurassic Park action figures, they were like, hey, we need you to sign this. It's your permission to use your face for Jurassic Park action figures. And he was like, cool, well, how much do I get paid for that? And it was like, it was something like $1,500. He's like, and so I said, no. I said no. And they just went ahead and they made an Ian Malcolm figure and it just doesn't look like me. And that's fine.
It's fine. Y'all, every time I look over, I keep looking behind Anthony because Dagger is back there just absolutely conked.
He had a big day yesterday. The failed safe cast, we all got together yesterday for a hangout.
We had a little lunch poolside hangout. It was so nice.
We went to D&D Queen Abria Iyengar's house.
Uh-huh.
And we had a little, it was so sweet. Her husband grilled for us.
Uh-huh.
And we were just sitting around and like having a good time, but Dagger got so excited to see everybody. And then we went and visited with friends for the rest of the day, and he is conked. He is conked from running around all day yesterday.
Yeah.
And
every time I look over, he's in a new position, just like.
And I feel so good about that because, you know, it's been a busy few weeks, and I don't always have as much time for the pup as I want.
Sure.
Especially, he doesn't understand now that the world is open, that I'm going out without him again.
Right.
Because for a year and a half, it's just been anytime I go somewhere, he comes.
Yeah.
And now it's like
the only place was here.
Yeah. And now it's like, I go out, and he's like, oh, cool, me too? Like, I'll go to a bar or something, or, like, go hang out with friends, and he just, like, he gets up at, like, 10 o'clock, and you can tell he's, like, he's tired, because he's old, but he's into it because he hasn't been out. And he's like, I come to bar? You and me?
Dagger doesn't go to bar.
Dagger says, I want a French 75. He's very classy.
Crazy.
I think if Dagger was a person, he would drink French 75s.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a champagne cocktail. I think he would do it. Anyway, Matt Damon.
Anthony?
Saige.
How much money do you have in your pocket right now?
None.
Okay. Then... even if we hit that goal, we won't have enough to buy a rare Super Mario Bros. Game. Y'all, let's start guessing. We've done these a few times. New copies of Mario games keep selling for more and more money.
Oh, okay. So this is another auction.
Another auction where a rare copy of Super Mario Bros. Let me tell you what's rare about it. It was part of a limited print. Factory sealed, professionally graded, part of a limited run print. What makes the... It was anonymous. It was an anonymous buyer. I'm trying to see what the difference in this one is.
I think there was an initial print run of Super Mario Brothers that had some sort of a different logo or copyright thing on it, and so that run is pretty rare.
Yeah.
So my guess is it's one of those.
Okay, so with that in mind, everybody, let's see it in the chat.
How many dollars?
How many dollars?
What did the last one? The last one went for like 1.4 mil, right? It was crazy, or like 1.2 or something.
The previous one was Mario 64 in July for 1.56.
Dude, I still don't think that was entirely up on the up and up.
It is a little suspicious. It was a suspicious amount of money, to be honest.
Yeah, 1.5 mil for a... I mean, it was a sealed copy of Mario 64, but that's still... what do we got?
Mario 64 is just not that old.
We've got 2.2 mil from Arcane Archivist. We've got 40 mil from Darren Plays Bad.
That's a lot of money.
350 mil,
420,000.
says Kaylin Roar.
1.85 million. 0.75 million.
The correct answer, $2 million.
$2 million. The highest price ever paid for a single video game.
That is fascinating.
$2 million for a single game.
I think
One
that's
game. Just a copy of the game.
the reason why I think it's fascinating whenever Super Mario Brothers in particular sells for a lot is because even though it is like, you know, arguably the beginning of modern video games, it was the first side scroller. Like, we get it. Very influential. It's also just like fucking everywhere. Like, there's nothing that doesn't play Mario.
Yes.
I can't imagine, even at a, you know, for $2 million, it's not just somebody who loves video games. This is an art collector and speculator.
Yeah.
This is somebody who plans to make money on this.
Right.
I just can't imagine.
For $2 million, you could get a beautiful house in Los Angeles.
Which is not easy to do.
No. It's deeply not. For $2 million, you could make a dope game.
Yeah. You can maybe
make your own game.
You can make a couple depending on what kind of game you wanted to make.
You could hire a team to make your own game for $2 million.
Man, I think the most expensive show I ever made was Science and Star Wars, and I don't think we had much more than $2 million to make like 10 episodes. You know? You could do a lot with $2 million.
I've been on sets that I had no part in other than an actor that had more than $2 million.
That's true.
That's it.
Like, that's wild. That's wild.
They could have invested in an independent content creation company.
I bet you could get a jetpack. Like one of those water jetpacks.
They just had $2 million around? Hi. We're open to investors. That's all I'm saying.
I want to see how much it costs to get one of those Green Goblin flying water hoverboards.
Oh, like...
Yeah, like a water jetpack kit.
Like Mark Zuckerberg.
No. He has the one that you pump your legs because you're a dork. I'm talking about the one where you actually fly above the water like the Green Goblin.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Show me that picture again. Go back up.
This is the water jetpack.
That's funny as hell.
This is the water jetpack. You can get a water jetpack for $10,000.
You could have gotten so many water jetpacks for that, dude.
I think a water jetpack is worth way more than a copy of Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, dude.
Here's one of the ones that's like the boots where you fly like the Green Goblin. That's like $6,200.
That's not very much.
I could be a supervillain for less than $10,000, Saige.
Wow.
And yet,
I'm gonna tell you right now.
I'm just sitting here doing dumb shit with my time.
In my heart, you already are a supervillain.
Thank you. I simply lack the accoutrement. Holy shit.
Wow. Good to know.
Green Goblin. There's that guy who flew through New York on one a few weeks ago. Do you remember this? No. There's a guy who actually flew through New York on like a Green Goblin hoverboard. Let me see.
It's definitely the first time hearing of it. Yeah, right, buy that rather than a boat? Yeah, that's way cooler than a boat.
Oh, yeah.
Boats aren't that cool. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, this was last month. Okay, Inside Edition. I don't need your...
No commentary.
I don't need your...
Mute the YouTube video.
I'm going to mute the YouTube video. All right, check this guy out.
You didn't mute the YouTube video.
I muted everything in my life. Here we go. I forgot. Sometimes I forget that if you mute the PC, it's not enough. This is somebody on June 22nd in New York City. Get right out of here. Come on.
Wow.
That, of course, is the Green Goblin hoverboarding to a Macy Gray concert. Because they felt like in Spider-Man, they had to specifically call that out because she was a Sony recording artist. And now I can't watch Spider-Man without somebody going, "Ladies and gentlemen, Macy Gray." And then they cut to a shot of Macy Gray going, because she sees the Green Goblin. And that's in there forever, and there's nothing we can do about that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this man who is the Green Goblin. You and everyone you know could be a Green Goblin for less than this person paid for the copy of Super Mario Brothers.
Wow.
You ever want to be a Green Goblin?
Yeah, all the time.
You could.
If I could lucid dream, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be Green Goblining around New York.
At your height, you're kind of a hobgoblin.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's the camera angle today.
It is the camera angle today is making you look shorter than your 9'6" that you normally are. It's an optical illusion.
It is. I'm tall enough to be a business professional.
That's true.
And I am.
Yeah, this is a business show. I have my street MBA.
And I passed the bar in the state of Virginia, so I can legally talk about these sort of things. Let's talk about the pettiest business news that's not being acknowledged for as petty as it is.
Okay, I'm ready.
A while back, Epic got into a struggle before they were struggling with Apple, with Google. They were trying to sidestep around Google from the Play Store taking a percentage of transactions made within Fortnite. It's the same issue they were having with Apple. Fortnite does not want to give anybody money.
All of these
Epic
companies
doesn't want to give anybody money for their game.
All of these companies try to play these games with each other just to see how far they can push each other.
Absolutely.
That's why you gotta if you want to buy a roll of toilet paper from Amazon, you can do it in the Amazon app. If you want to buy a book, an ebook from Amazon, you got to do it from your mobile browser.
So.
Because they want to give Apple that money.
They sure don't.
So Epic didn't want to give Google the money.
Epic didn't want to give Google the money. So, you know what almost happened?
What almost happened?
Google almost bought Epic. Google almost bought Epic to go, "Oh yeah? You don't want to give us a percentage of Fortnite?" Google considered buying Epic to shut down efforts to compete with Google Play.
I want to say the craziest thing about this is this tweet from Tim Sweeney.
Who tweeted out an article from The Verge.
Tim Epic Games Sweeney
said that Google considered buying Epic to get around it. That's funny as hell.
But not just that, he said they didn't know. Google was thinking about buying Epic. They were getting money together. They were figuring it out. But Epic didn't know until the Apple court case. This came out in the Apple court case documents. Google was like, well, if they're giving us trouble, why don't we just buy them? You want to talk about supervillains?
That's some supervillain shit. It's terrifying and pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, and because here's the thing. Let's talk alternate timelines, because this was a few years ago. Fortnite Stadia.
Yep.
Fortnite Stadia with exclusive stuff for Stadia players.
Honestly, that might have saved the Stadia.
They would have actually, what it would have done is Stadia would have killed Fortnite.
You think?
Nothing can kill Fortnite except for Google fucking Stadia.
I mean, that'd be hilarious. Fascinating. Tim Sweeney is not a victim here.
That's correct.
No.
Blade of Creation?
Absolutely. Of course not.
This is
We don't
supervillain-
think that at all. Supervillain v. supervillain.
Yeah, this is villains on villains on villains.
Look, we do not stand massive corporations. We do not stand billionaires in this house. Not a goddamn one of them. Absolutely not. Massive corporations? Icky. All of them. Every last one of them are deeply evil to their core.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism.
I mean,
But it's a funny move.
and there's something, I mean, it's crazy because there is something to be said for, like, what if Google owned Epic Games and not, Tencent?
Yeah.
Because the consolidation of the entire gaming industry under Tencent is getting a little scary. But I mean, I don't know that I want that much consolidation under Google either. I don't want any of this consolidation, if I'm honest. But that's kind of fascinating. And it's fascinating that these villains are finding out about each other's plans in this court case.
It's like sitting down, out your window and watching two kaiju fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just like, fuck, this is bad for everybody. I can't relate in the slightest to what's about to happen here.
I'm just in my bathtub playing games on this apparently waterproof controller, hoping that these kaiju don't stomp on me.
It's wild.
It's fucking wild.
Anyways, I just wanted to talk about that. We can move on to other things now. We've got some casting news.
Yeah.
We've got some announcements
So,
news.
let's talk about some casting news. Netflix revealed some upcoming stuff over the last couple weeks. First of all, there was a teaser trailer for Stranger Things 4, which came out.
That's exciting.
Stranger Things 4 is coming in 2022. We are not shocked.
Of course they're doing Stranger Things.
They didn't really show much in it. It was mostly like a string of clips that are like greatest hits of things that have happened in past seasons of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
However, they did also announce some casting news for a show that we have been following very closely.
As you all may know, I am a huge Addams Family fan.
Could not tell by looking at you.
I know. I get it. The Addams Family, the 60s show is my comfort show. The movies are just, were extremely influential
They
to who I ended up
pivotal.
being.
Pivotal to me.
Gomez and Morticia, I literally could not name a couple that I am more personally invested in, a fictional couple
Did you see
that is more important to me than Gomez and Morticia Addams.
Did you see the art that I tweeted of them?
I didn't.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Morticia and Gomez are goals. I think there has never been a better television couple, in my opinion.
The dynamic between them is just like this undying affection for each other.
It's perfect.
Just adoration, adulation of one another. There's a Green Goblin.
There we go.
This is the art that I posted the other day. That's the dynamic. He's like, just look at her. Just look at her. And they're so hot.
God, they're so hot.
They're so hot.
Oh, man.
Raul Julia and Angelica Houston were... Ugh.
I cannot believe how much of my life I was in love with Morticia Gomez without realizing I was bisexual.
You know, a lot of people say that. A lot of the women I know say that. When I went and saw it last month at Cinespia, like we were sitting there and we all kept looking at each other during moments of the movie because we had watched it so much throughout our lives, but we were watching it again and we were like, "Oh my God, this basically built the scaffolding for what I think a relationship is."
It built the scaffolding for what I think a relationship is for my type in men and women. Damn. Anyways.
It's why I feel like I should always be wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Like always.
And why I also feel like men should always be wearing a suit.
Always. It's why I've always wanted to learn fencing. It's just, it's so much.
Should always be wearing a suit. Everyone looks good in a suit.
Everybody.
Everyone.
Anyway,
gender.
So we know that the reason why we're talking about this is because number one, how can you not?
Right.
And
number two, Netflix is making a show that is a Wednesday Addams spinoff. I think it's just called Wednesday, if I remember correctly. They're doing a show called just Wednesday. It is a live-action Addams Family spinoff following a more mature Wednesday Addams.
Yeah, I believe this is a Wednesday Addams who has just gone off to school.
Yeah,
and
college-age Wednesday.
And is solving supernatural crimes because Riverdale is probably on its last season.
Yes. And that's fine. I'm excited about it. I'm not going to... I don't want to get my hopes up.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to set them too low. I want to go in expecting that they could make a good show. There was a big casting announcement. Now, I saw the headline, Netflix's Wednesday Addams spinoff has its Gomez, and I said... I did.
This is a big deal.
This is huge.
This is a big deal.
It's one of the most important pieces of casting. We already have their Wednesday. We're excited about their Wednesday.
Now, we have a feeling that Gomez and Morticia, the rest of the Addams family, are going to have secondary roles in this show.
Yes, we know it's following Wednesday, who's potentially off away at,
Yeah.
witchy college.
Whoever her cool new friends are that, she solves crimes with. But we do want to know that we got ourselves a good Gomez and Morticia.
Uh-huh.
Saige, who did they cast as Gomez Addams?
Luis Guzman.
Luis Guzman?
Luis Guzman.
Now, I love Luis Guzman. He's a brilliant character actor.
We're going to say absolutely no shade to Luis Guzman.
And I can sort of see what they were going for. However...
It's the voice that stresses me out the most.
It is the voice.
It's the voice for me.
He does... I mean, Raul Julia and even John Astin in the 60s series
God, I love them.
have Raul Julia has that deep commanding voice. John Astin has that very he has that very good elocution,
Projecting.
and he's projecting, and he's got that theater dad voice.
Right.
It's a feeling of just Gomez.
Yes.
Yeah. Luis Guzman.
Nuh-uh.
Now, Oscar Isaac, Disassembled J brings up Oscar Isaac, and we should mention that the animated Addams Family movie did give us Oscar Isaac.
Isaac would have been amazing. He's
and it was a
too young
waste.
for this one.
It was a waste.
Are you kidding me?
To have him animated, how dare.
I am deeply in love with Gomez and also Oscar Isaac.
We got Oscar Isaac and Charlize Theron
Come on.
as Gomez and Morticia, and it was animated. That is
We didn't get to see those two of them stand next to each other at all.
that is your alarm clock going off 48% into a wet dream. You know what I mean?
Well,
That is things are about to get good.
Comment there, but
Things
yeah.
are about to get good. And then then it's just time to go to school. That's not okay. That's not okay. Why didn't I get to see him as Gomez? Why didn't I get to see her as Morticia? Even their height.
Even their
She
height
is
was
so
perfect.
much taller than him.
Even their height was perfect. They look like they could do it. Obviously, I don't think, and this is great, that they'll be casting a white woman as Morticia, most likely. It doesn't seem like it. The actress playing Wednesday is Hispanic. So, no Charlize Theron. Fine. Totally. Great.
Luis
Guzman as Gomez?
A lot of times when this casting news comes out of left field, I'm kind of like, all right, let's see. You know what I mean? Things like this happen, and I go, all right, let's see. Like, I remember when Jon Cryer was announced to be Lex Luthor, and everybody's like, Jon Cryer? I was like, yeah, I bet he fucking kills it. He's been an actor his whole life. I bet he's great.
I believe Luis Guzman is a very talented
He's
actor.
A brilliant comedic character actor. But it's very rare when casting news like this comes out and it hits me wrong.
Same, actually. I'm usually like, we'll see.
And this just sort of hits me wrong.
Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard us talk about a casting announcement on here, unless it was, like, racially inaccurate, right? Or something that was, like, offensively incorrect. I don't think you've ever heard us be like, ooh, that's not what we were hoping for. And this is one of those things. I don't know. I do hope to be pleasantly surprised, absolutely.
You know what? We'll see it when we see it.
He's got a goofy energy to him.
I mean, who knows? Maybe somewhere Luis Guzman is like, he's doing ballroom dancing lessons. He's taking fencing classes. He's figuring out the voice. He's knowing what, like, you know what I mean? Like, who knows? Who knows? Or maybe, and sometimes when they do something like this, there's a reason for it story-wise, right? Yeah. Like, maybe there's a reason that Gomez is not as suave as he used to be. Maybe there's something that has befallen the Addams family, sort of an Addams family values style thing. Or you know what I mean?
I don't want that for the show, but yeah, it could be.
Who knows?
A few people in chat said that he would maybe suit Uncle Fester better in energy. And
maybe.
And I'll agree with that in energy. He's got that, like, goofier fucking dude energy to him.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with appearance, quite simply. It's just love, like, the voice and the way that he, like, his inflections. Obviously, that can be adjusted. He also is a voice actor.
Kaylin Rohr's bringing up the couple of TV movies where Tim Curry was Gomez, and he was very good.
Tim Curry is good in everything.
He was very good.
Tim Curry is an icon and has never been bad at anything. Please do yourself a favor as we close in closer to Halloween and go listen to Tim Curry's On Halloween song.
Oh, so good. Everybody go watch The Worst Witch, everybody. You got to do that. It's Worst Witch season. Well, shoot. It sounds like there are kaiju right outside this house.
It does sound
and
like
it is about 9:30.
It is about 9:30. So that's probably, I guess, a good time to sign off, because it would appear...
Can you all hear that?
It would appear that we are being attacked by a kaiju. I think that there is construction nearby. Hey, thank you. Well, hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for today's show. Thank you for spending your morning with us. It means the world to us. We, of course, are an entirely independent network. We make a show so that you will show up and watch it. So getting up at 8 a.m., exactly 8 a.m. Pacific, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is more than enough. That's very cool of you. But we also want to go through and shout out some of the people that showed up for the first time, that supported in other ways. That's really dope.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing so.
So, big thank you to Ronan Monkey for the resub for 11 months. Schnooze7956, Spilled Genie with the follows. Loco Mike 14 with that Prime sub for 2 months. Anna Phipps 115, Plato, S. Hera 1988, thank you for the follows. Righty and M with 25 bits. Kodo Gamer with the follow. 54 Aquasnakes with the bits. Kuzdra with the follow. Thank you. 54 Aquasnakes with 200 bits for treats for the good boy Dagger. Froggy Froggo with the follow. Dougie Fresh with 200 bits. Ice Blue Rhino with the follow. El the Sad Bisexual with the follow. I got it. Dova Chrono with the resub. 3 months with the only news network you will ever need. These beautiful humans give us only the facts with some comedic gold sprinkled in. Love you both and look forward to each stream. Thank you so much, Dova Chrono.
That's very sweet.
Lexi Alaretto with the resub for 5 months in a row. Revolver Ocelot with the 3-month sub. Kaylin Roar, of course, starting us out with the $300 dono. Oh, my stars and garters.
Oh, my stars and garters. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That is incredibly kind. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you, everybody who showed up this morning. Of course, we will be back on Wednesday. Also, we owe you a couple of Patreon clips since we didn't do much for shows last week. So we'll get you some Patreon content. We got some sweet, sweet Patreon content, we promise. And if you've never been on our Patreon, for $5 a month, you can get an extra clip from It's Too Early every week. They're usually just us talking about a story that we didn't have a chance to talk about on the show that week. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty, hey.
It's pretty nice over there.
It's pretty cool and nice over there. We got a bunch of other things that you can get as a patron if you watch other shows on the network as well. So go check that out. Of course, go hang out in the Discord. That's where everybody's hanging out. Are you not in the Discord?
Are you not in the Discord?
We were looking for you in the Discord and you weren't there. And we were like, do they know that we're in the Discord? So go check that out. And hey, when we are not here, you can find us in other places. I'm at A Carboni everywhere, except for here on Twitch, where I'm at Anthony Carboni. Twitch, you cowards, it's mine. Give it back to me. We're taking a little Zelda break to play Death's Door because I love that good bird game. So come watch us play the good bird game. I'll probably start it up around today at 4 p.m. Also, you can catch my science comedy podcast with Jeff Canada, We Have Concerns, that comes out every single Friday at wehaveconcerns.com. And, you know, I'm here on Friday nights for Failed Save with all the other good kids. Saige, explain your life to me.
Well, you see, it all started. Hi, I'm Saige Ryan. I go by Not Saige everywhere on the internet. You can find me on my channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Monday's today. I'll be over there tonight. You can also find me this afternoon on the Smosh Games channel for Board AF. We're going to be playing board games with friends. It's a good time. You can find me over there all the dang time. I'm on the D&D channel. I'm on the Mad Cave Studios channel talking about comic books now, as of last week. So that's pretty exciting. Thank you. I hope I'll see you in the next place.
She means the afterlife. She means when we all pass into the next great journey together.
I hope we'll see you there.
Goodbye, BBs.
Goodbye, BBs.